Hello, I'm Greg. Welcome to my channel, Midnite Oil Software, and another lunchtime live stream. Hopefully my audio is working. Looks like it on OBS. I'm just listening to see if I can hear myself. But we're going to be continuing from where we left off on my 3D space shooter. The last time I live stream, I added the ability to correctly destroy the ship when it was destroyed and not have any errors when that happened. So what I want to do now is respawn the ship. Let's see. I'm listening. There's a bit of a lag here. I'm going to assume it's working. If it's not, somebody can tell me in the chat. So what I want to do today is I want to respawn the player ship after a delay. So they're going to be destroyed. And then we're going to want to start a timer to respawn the player ship after some configurable delay. The other thing I want to do is I've got this follow camera, which you can manually switch to it. But what I want to do is when the player ship is destroyed, I want to set the target of this follow camera to, if not the ship that destroyed me, then at least the nearest ship to that location. So I'm going to have to figure out how to do that. Basically, I want to switch the perspective to looking at, hopefully seeing the player ship being destroyed by whatever it was that did the destruction. Let's see. So one thing I know I'm going to want to do is in the player manager, I'm going to want to add some configuration to handle respawning the ship after it's destroyed. So we've got this spawn configuration. So I think what I want to do is add some respawn configuration. And we'll have serialized field. I think I want to have a float. That will be the respawn delay. I think 5 seconds is too long. And I think I want to have a Boolean to enable auto respawn, and I'll default that to true. Okay. Now there is an on-player destroyed method in this class. On player destroyed. So I think I want to modify that. I was prototyping this. So I'm already checking to make sure that the active players contains the player. I'm checking to see, to get my player index. I'm firing an event. I think after this log here, I want to refactor this all a little bit here. I want to add up here, I want to move this log statement up here. And I want to say if enable auto respawn, then I want to start a respawn timer. It's interesting, Ryder assumes that what I want to do is use a coroutine. And then I want to move this into an else statement. And I actually want this to be, actually, I'm just going to do an early return. This is called a guard clause. I don't need an else statement. This will reduce the nesting. Okay, start respawn timer. So I am going to hit Alt-Enter in Writer. Then I can say create start respawn timer, and it'll go ahead and create this method. So let's see, I can say if enable debug log, then I will say debug log, and let's see, I want to say player manager that looks good to me. All right, so now I want to create a timer. So I'm going to say var timer equals timer manager dot instance dot create timer, and I want it to be a countdown timer with the respawn delay. Just looking at my prototype code here. And then I actually want to have a collection of these. So I'm going to say respawn timer player, that's going to be a dictionary, equals timer. And then I'm going to subscribe to that timer's on timer stop. And we're going to do a lambda here. Fat arrow on respawn timer complete player index and is local. So maybe I'll change this to be is local. Oops. And then I'm going to start the timer. And let me go ahead and create that. All right, so in here, I want to first check and make sure that player is not null. And I'm just going to say if not player, return. There's my guard clause. Then I want to say if respawn timer, which does not exist yet, dot contains key player. Timer manager dot instance dot release timer countdown timer respawn timers player. And then I want to remove that timer. Then I want to say respawn player. Okay, let's go ahead and create that function. Okay. Let's see. I want to say, oops. Free spawn point near position player dot transform dot position. And I probably should say if not player or not player dot transform return, just to be safe. Actually, I don't want to just do that. I want to say if enable debug log debug log error there we go. Just want to play it safe. Free spawn point near position, and then I want to get a spawn point, so I'll say var spawn point get available spawn point. Hey, that's already there. And then I want to display an error if that's null for some reason. So if not spawn point, hey, look at that. Log error and return. Good. Then so what we're doing when we destroy the player is we're just disabling the game object for that player. So all I really need to do is reset its position and rotation. And then I'm going to want to set that spawn point is occupied. And then I'm going to want to make sure I remove any linear and angular velocity from the rigid body on the player. So let's just go ahead and do all that. I want to say player dot transform dot set local position or set position and rotation, and I want to set it to the spawn point position and spawn point rotation. Very nice. I want to set the spawn point occupied to be true. And now I want to get the rigid body. I'm just going to call it RB because that's complaining that we're covering up something. Let's see. Player, get component, rigid body. If RB dot linear velocity, RB dot angular velocity. And let's take a look at our damage handler. If damage handler you did not know what I wanted to do, Reiner. I want to say init, and I just want to pass in damage handler dot max health. Player dot set active true. I want to raise an event. And let's take a look at the if enabled debug log. Okay, so we still have some errors, and it has to do with our dictionary. I think this should actually be respawn timers. So let me go up to the top of the class here. I'm going to create a new dictionary. Read only dictionary. And it's going to be game object and then countdown timer. Respawn timers. We'll just instantiate a new one. And let's see what it's complaining about here. Okay. Now I also want to, in on destroy, I want to clean up our timers. So let me find on destroy. Do we not have on destroy in this class? Doesn't look like it. Okay, so I want to call base on destroy and check that out. I'm going to say for each var timer pair and respawn timers. I want to release the timer, and then I'm going to want to clear that collection. All right. Well, let's go see if I can get destroyed and if it doesn't respawn our ship after 3 seconds. Our shields are down and our hull is halfway down. Shouldn't be long. Boom. 2, 1. Boom. I should get respawned. And we did not get respawned. I'm not seeing any errors in the console. Let's see. Respawn player. So it thinks it respawned us. But it didn't work. I'm going to put a breakpoint there. And respawn player. I'm going to start the debugger. Am I on a breakpoint? Yeah. That's spawn player. Okay. Why are my shields going down? Was I being shot already? I guess I was. Oh, breakpoint. Okay, so respawn player. That happened awful quickly. Okay, I got a spawn point. 0, 0, no, it's at, well, it is a 0, 0, 0. It's interesting. All right. I'm going to set my player's position and rotation. You know, I wonder if I'm just not on the player camera. If I just need to reset the camera back to the player. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 1. Nope. So something ain't right. For one thing, my shields aren't healed either. Let's see. Pause the game. I got to put those asteroids under a container. That's so painful. I am not seeing the player ship. Okay, let me go take a look. Let's put a breakpoint in here. I want to see what's going on in there. Okay, looks like I was destroyed. Okay, so let's see. got that. I got my player index. I am local. I'm going to raise the player destroyed event. Going to log that out. That's true. I'm going to start the respawn timer. Oh. So I'm going to create a timer, add it to my cache. So now I'm going to set it so that on respawn timer complete. Let's see, I want to put a breakpoint in there. All right, and then I'm going to start the timer. It's coming in there awfully fast. On player destroyed. So I'm at the top of this method again. That's interesting. Damage handler. All right. So I find it odd that I'm getting in that method more than once. So this is the player manager. When the player spawns, I'm going to set the camera's follow target to be that player. I'm going to subscribe to his on object destroyed event. And that calls on player destroyed. So damage handler, object destroyed, and listener. Let me look at the player ship. Damage handler. I'm going to add a Boolean. Hey, knew what I wanted. All right, let me do it this way. Take damage. This will prevent me from getting destroyed more than once. This calls object destroyed invoke. Hey, Brain Rig. So that's the second time you've thanked me for my Unity addressables tutorial. I think. I'm looking at something else here. Sorry, I was streaming on my phone, but I was actually streaming my last live stream. Okay, I just want to make sure my audio is working. All right. Yeah, I want to debug this again, and I want to see if the player ship is getting destroyed more than once. I think I've fixed that now, and I want to see exactly what's happening, because it shouldn't be respawning the ship immediately. There should be a 3-second delay. So I also want to look at what variables, what values I've got in that player manager. So let me pause this. I want to go to the player manager. I got to put those asteroids under a container. I'm going to do that. Let's see, player manager. Yep, 3-second respawn delay. And I just want to see where the player ship is. Player. Okay. So this was disappearing when I got destroyed, which is wrong. It should just be disabled. So let's see what happens here. I'm going to let myself get destroyed. Shields are going down, down, down. Hull's going down. He'll come around for another pass. Okay. On player destroyed. All right, so take damage is calling on object destroyed because my health went to negative 600. Okay, that's good. So let's see. Going to raise the player destroyed event. I need to see where that's handled. Okay, enable debug log. Enable auto respawn. I'm going to start the respawn timer. Respawn delay is 3 seconds. Initial time is 3. All right, so I'll start that. Respawn player is being called from on spawn timer complete. That's why that should be on timer stop. All right, let me go ahead and fix that. So I know exactly what's happening. I'm respawning the ship and then destroying him, because if we go back, we're starting our respawn timer, which is immediately firing the event to respawn the player, and then I'm removing the player. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that all I got to do is in this method here, make this on timer stop. And that should fix that issue. Okay, I should have respawned. Let's go look. Okay, I'm not seeing player. So there's still a problem. The player is still gone, like gone. So I think the next thing I want to do is I want to put a breakpoint in the on destroy method, since it looks like I am actually being destroyed. Actually, let me look at my prefab. See the best place to put that. Ship controller, radar screen, player input, damage handler. Maybe this would be a good place to put that break point. Put a breakpoint. Debug that. So my shield was destroyed. On player destroyed. Okay, so the player object should not have been destroyed yet. Respawn player. Okay, I'm going to set him active. Ah. So what is this? This is the player. But what destroyed me? There's nothing on the stack. So let's go take a look at that. Player destroyed. Unity seems to have locked up on me. Oh, I'm in a breakpoint. Okay. Damage handler. Okay. So I respawned and then I got destroyed. So we're going to cheat. And I'm going to start a new thread in Bezier. And I'm going to pick the player ship. And I'm going to pick the damage handler. All right. The on destroy method. It should identify exactly where that's happening. Damage handler script. When the player takes damage, it calls object destroyed invoked. Oh, doesn't set is destroyed equal true. Oh, okay, I got to do that. Respawn player is called. It reinitializes the ship and sets it active, but the ship may be in an invalid state. The problem is that the game object should be disabled, not left active. Blah, 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 blah. I don't. Okay, when the player respawns, it calls player set active true. Well, that can't be the problem. I mean, I can do that, sure, but that's not the issue. That doesn't tell me what's destroying the object. So I wonder if there's a component on the ship that's getting destroyed. Yeah, go ahead and keep all. Perfect, found it. Ship controller. Ah. Both are harmless. Ah. New listeners are added. Yeah, fix that. Fix that. Absolutely. So I was subscribing multiple times to these health changed and object destroyed events. All right, let's just see if that fixes the issue. I'm skeptical. Got a few minutes left in my lunchtime, and then I'm going to have to wrap this up. I'm not going to get to switching cameras today. Well, it looks like I respawn with shields. Let me pause this. I don't see the player. Did it get renamed or something? I mean, I'm not getting any null reference exceptions. That's on an enemy ship. Enemy ship. Enemy ship. Definitely not seeing a player ship in the hierarchy. So that's just responding to events. So it doesn't have a reference to the player at all. I'm going to have to wrap this up soon. Let's just see what Bezzy says. Oh, it is actually being destroyed. Ah. Ah. Yeah, I definitely want to do that. I'm going to disable the shield instead of destroying it. back with shields. I still don't see the player's ship. Yeah, add some more detailed logging. I'll believe it when I see it. Oh, about time to wrap up here. Dang, that was quick. I'm still getting destroyed. All right, I'm going to have to wrap this up and pick it up tomorrow. But anybody that tuned in and watched, thanks for watching. And hopefully you enjoyed watching how the sausage is made, even with all of the issues that we're dealing with today. But this is what happens with game development. So I'm trying to radically change the architecture here and the functionality. I want to dynamically spawn players and then respawn them when they get destroyed. And something obviously is not quite working right. So we'll get this worked out. It's just software. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and good luck on your game development journey.